Well, what's going on, people? It is now Sunday of my first race meet. Now, I tried to start videoing a lot of this content earlier on the weekend, and to be perfectly honest, being my first race meet, I just couldn't wrap my head around trying to film and focus on the car and focus on my driving and keep out of trouble. So I got the first 2 days out of the way. It's now day 3. It is the last day of the Shannon's Trophy Series here at Queensland Raceway. The XLs have 2 races today, and both will be on the TV, so that'll be interesting. But Friday we had, in the afternoon, we had a practice qualifying, and our first race, 25-minute race, which for my first race, I jumped in the deep end for sure, because that was no joke. I was expecting safety cars, no safety cars. 14, I think it was 14 laps of just flat out racing. And if you've ever raced at Queensland Raceway, there's only really 2 or 3 places you get a break. I mean, if you're in a pack, you probably don't get a break at all, but I did get lapped by about half the field, only because it was my first race and I'm still trying to figure out this car. So I was out there just busting my backside, and when those cars came up on me, I tried to stay out of the way as best as I could. Sorry if I got in anyone's way, which I don't think I did. And I let everyone just go around me. I kept on my racing line, which is what I was expected to do. And then race 2 and 3 yesterday. First race yesterday, which was Saturday, I lowered my lap time by a second, which was awesome. And then the second race yesterday, which is our 3rd race of the weekend, I dropped another 10th off that. So I'm sitting about a 138.1. So today I'd dearly love to get down to the 137s. And people say, oh, it's all right. And the guys up the front are doing 131, so I'm still I'd be 6 seconds off the pace a lap. But first race meet, some of these guys have been racing for years and have a lot of money invested in their car. So for me, doing a 137 would be awesome. There's a few things I want to change on the car before this weekend, before we go out for these races today. But so far so good. I'm stoked. This car is so fun to drive. I'm absolutely loving the way it handles and feels. I think it's just me, just needs to put in a bit of extra work and a bit of development and getting some weight out of this car, and eventually probably trying to get an engine in it, because it's a stock engine at the moment, and all the cars I'm racing out there, pretty much apart from I think one that I know of, have built engines. So goal today, 137s. And we'll see how we go. If we don't get there, that's okay. As someone said to me this morning, Rome was not built in a day. We just have to keep working at it. So get through today and these next few races, and we'll see where we end up.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yep. You fired up? Yeah, okay, just poke on up. You're clear to come out. don't forget on the when you grid up, you'll be on the left-hand side this time.
Yeah, fine. 22.
Yep. Lights on. Go. One gone off, I think it might be 4, you'll see him straight ahead of you. I saw that. Don't know what's happened to the car in front of you. You can't tell. Yeah, the grill's a bit bent here, the bottom's a bit bent.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good, man.
I didn't.
That was on me. I'm sorry like that enough. It's all good, man. We've got spares. Do you need it?
Well, what a race that was. If you guys were watching at home on TV, it had a bit of an accident. So no one's fault. Racing incident. We just coming back to restart off a safety car, and just a concertina effect. Everyone just got into the back of each other, and I went up the back of Maverick pretty hard. No damage to his car, but mine took a bit of a hit. It pushed the radiator support panel in, and the radiator actually got bent or kinked slightly in two places on both sides. So much that it actually pushed it, and it actually hit the alternator bracket, and then the other side it pushed some fins in. Still holds fluid, so we're going to go out for race 3, give it a red hot go. But yeah, we've got it fixed up. A bit of tape, gave it a bit of a pirate patch, and see how we go. So we have a bit of repair work to do before next race that we do. So it's going to need it'll probably need a new radiator. We could probably try and straighten the radiator support panel. The front crash bar, might be able to try and fix that up, but then it's weakened now, so every time you get a hit there, it's just going to bend. So we'll fix it up as best as we can for the next round, and then we'll try and get it out there, and go from there. But awesome racing. In fact, I actually lowered my best time by 5/10, so I'm down to the 1:37s now, which was a goal I wanted for today. So we'll see how we go from there, and figure out the next goal. I think this one is just to stay out of trouble and bring it home. So another 25 lap race, and see where we finish up.
Might be a safer idea. Slow down a little bit now. But keep on him now. Looked pretty good through there.
Sideways, put the foot down, you straighten up.
Yeah, you're doing well. They are catching obviously, but hang in there.
And that's our weekend done. I really didn't get to film as much as I wanted to, because after that first race I was busy fixing some damage on the car. So we got it back out there, dropped my lap time again, a bit more confidence through some turns, braking later as best as possible. Tried a little trick with the engine, which seemed to work really well coming out of the turns. But yeah, well, I'm very happy with how it all worked and how it all played out. Car's loaded up, we're heading home, get unloaded, and then we can start working on fixing it. Now, probably will never be as straight as it was, but that's okay. As long as the radiator keeps cooling, the car keeps moving, we keep having power, that's all that matters. So we'll head home now, unload it, assess the damage, see what we can fix, see what we can change, and hopefully, fingers crossed, in about 4 or 5 weeks time we might be out at Morgan Park racing again, if all works out. So let's get it home and assess the damage. Alright, car is now back in the shed. As you can see, bonnet's up. I've just taken the intake pipe off for the cold air intake. Just have a good look around that, give it a clean. It's quite dusty from the little off we had. But we've got a game plan of some things we can fix up and get changed ready for, well, to get this thing back out on track, and we'll go through those now. Okay, so it's been a couple of days. I've had a lot of time to think about how I want to approach this. The airbox looks nothing like it did at the start of the weekend, and that's because when I first started the weekend, it was attached to the radiator support panel, but that was brought to my attention very quickly by the scrutineers. That wasn't allowed, so I changed it, and they said still not good enough, so I changed it to where it wasn't even crossing over this panel. Originally I just bent it up, now it's bent up and all mangled. I do plan on making a whole new airbox at some point, but for the moment that works. Strangely enough, looks like garbage, but it works. The Pirate Eye has to go. We do need to put a new indicator and a new headlight in there. We will be getting those sorted. Hopefully we'll be getting some of those soon, and I will be hopefully wrapping it the same green to take it back up to the green-eyed monster. The front crash bar underneath the bumper bar needs to just be bent back into shape and fixed up, so we'll get that taken care of. So our front bumper bar matches up with our guard. It's got a bit of a gap there at the moment, so we'll fix that up. And the big one is the front radiator panel is bent, so we'll have to try and bend that back into shape and do something there. And then also on the hit, it actually pushed the radiator support panel back into the radiator down here, but on the back side, the hit was a bit bigger than I thought, because just down there, you see that dent just there in the radiator, that actually was pushed back and hit the alternator bracket just down there. Now, surprisingly, this radiator from Mish's XL Garage is a stout bit of gear, because there's 2 dents on either side. It did not break, did not crack, still holds fluid. And in that final race where I went out and set my fastest time for the weekend, it maintained 82 degrees the entire time on track. Nothing over. The only time it got over is when I was coming back off track through the pits. And I didn't have that airflow. I did have the fan going, but even so, with the airflow not going through it, it just wasn't getting the temperatures needed to cool it down. So that is awesome. So if I can, it's a little bit tweaked, a little bit bent, but hopefully once we pull things straight, it'll straighten up. And if it does, it'll keep going, hopefully, and we'll be good to go. And then eventually we can keep this for a spare, or we get a new one and yeah, keep it as a spare, or you just run this one till we need to get a new one. But I'm stoked for how this weekend turned out. This engine, stock engine, screamed its head off all weekend, did a fantastic job, no real issues at all. Just after the third race when we came in, we all had to go across the scales. Just sitting there, the oil must have got real thin and then wasn't getting through the tappet, so it just got real tappy all the time. Oil cooled down, started back up, it was good to go. We changed a few little things on the intake, one of them being when I had the spin off in practice and qualifying, I had this capped off just here and the cap popped off, not sure how, and then the vacuum was sucking in a lot of air, which was revving it up and down. Capped that off, fixed that, and then made a few little changes to the engine, which so far has been fantastic. So fingers crossed we can run this engine for a little bit longer. We do have the other one there that we can possibly look at rebuilding, but at the moment we'll stick with the tried and true OG engine that came with the car and go from there. Okay, so where to from here, guys? One thing I didn't mention is the bonnet is bent up. We'll just stand on that, bend it back into shape, give it a munted nose for a little bit until I get my confidence kind of running around people. I could put a new bonnet on it, but at the end of the day, I'll run the risk of bending that one too. So if I run a munted nose for a little bit, if this one gets bent, it's okay. Then eventually put a new bonnet on it and make it look schmick again, possibly for the new year. Who knows? Goal is to try and get this thing sorted and fixed up, ready for the next round, which is out at Warwick in around 4 weeks' time. Like I said, if we can fix up the few little things along the front of the car, headlight and indicator are super easy things to fix. We just got to get them. Fix up the radiator support panel. I might try and hit up a Wreckers, see if we can pick up one of those. And then bend up the front crash bar back into shape, and everything should literally line back up. And we'll be good to go, apart from the nose. So, yeah, that's the goal. It was an absolutely awesome weekend. Every single time I went out on track, I improved my times and had a blast. So this beautiful car here, got the big lights in the background, performed superbly, and I'm stoked. All that time, all the years and the effort that I put into it certainly paid off. I will say this, the wrap on this car from Check It Out Graphics down in South Australia stood out like nobody's business. I don't know how many people came past on the weekend and mentioned how good this car looked out on track. Easy to spot, easy to see, was awesome stuff. For people watching, because even on TV it was easy to spot. People coming up at the end of the day when I was putting it on the trailer, officials were taking photos of it. So credit to those guys for designing me a livery and a wrap that was sensational. I can't thank them enough. And the beautiful thing is, because this car's not painted, it is wrapped. If I do need to get a new bonnet in the future, I'll just stick a new bonnet on it and I'll just order another bonnet wrap from Check It Out and slap that on, we're good to go. So, I'm stoked. First race weekend in the books. It was a fantastic time. Super keen to get back out there. I have watched my final race, and I must say, when you're out there racing, you don't realise how hard you're pushing these engines and these cars, and the abuse that they cop and they take is phenomenal. I'm anticipating probably having to do some sort of engine rebuild. Probably, there's two more rounds for the Motorsport Australia Series X3 that I can do this year. One in September, I think one in November, possibly. And then we can start fixing this car up. And there is a few little things I want to change on it. A few things that I would like to improve. Nothing major, because I tried to make it as good as possible when I was building it. But it will need a new set of rings in it. And if I go down that path, I've got to pull the whole head off. I've got to do all that kind of stuff. Do we then look at doing some sort of engine build? Things like that. So we'll wait and see. It's, like I said, decisions need to be made. I did have one person offer to buy the car on the weekend. tempting, but not, because, you know, cash would be lovely. But at the end of the day, I love this car. I've put a lot of time and effort into it, and I think we'll continue to race it and press on, because, yeah, this thing means a lot to me. I've put, like I said, put a lot of time and effort into it, and I'd hate to see it go. So, bit to fix, bit to change. We'll get it sorted, get it fixed up, and then hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be back out on track at Morgan Park in Warwick for round 5 of the state series, and just another event ticked off the list. And now I'm on my provisional license. I can get all that signed off and good to go. So until next time, guys, I will see you later.